Hello everyone, I'm the Geek and this is me speaking. Well, it's pretty late, but I realized that I haven't done an update in a while, so I've decided to do the last three movies that I just saw. They're all pretty recent, so I don't know, I guess this sort of makes up for the prolonged absence. The first one that I've got for you today is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and it's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I walked out of the theater significantly less, like, than my brother and my father did. My brother thought that it was like the greatest movie ever made, and I have to admit it's a damn good movie. I mean, Michael Cera's not annoying for once in his life. Mary Elizabeth Winstead has a really good role in this. It's good to see her back in sort of mainish role territory. And, the rest of the cast is pretty impressive, and some of the characters that they adapted from the original comic are actually better in this version than they were in the comic version, particularly the gay roommate Wallace. This actor just totally nailed him. Others, like Kim Pines, my personal favorite, are downplayed, but, you have to expect that from, just a 2 hour movie that decides to condense 6 books into just one movie. So, you have to expect a little bit of downplaying of characters, lack of backstory, general stuff that you would expect from an adaptation. Now, the one thing that I really don't think I thought that Scott Pilgrim was extremely funny. I mean, it was just not as good as the original comic in terms of how funny it was. Some jokes really fall flat, and you know that they're meant not to. Uh, for instance, the one that was advertised in the trailers, sorry, was like the weird P bar scene. I mean, I know that everyone's ripped that apart, and I know that it's just one scene, but it still was a pretty lame gag, and I really can't believe that that made it through the writing phase, considering the fact that the rest of the humor, especially in the comic, is just a little bit more highbrow and nerdy. So I don't know, that was a little bit annoying. Some of the evil X's just some of them drag on longer than they should and take away from other characters because of it. The one that I think did this the most was Lucas Lee, who got basically the same amount of screen time that he did in the comic, except that in this version he's significantly less interesting. He was not really that interesting in the comic to begin with, and to add like this whole stunt double team that Scott has to fight off camera, by the way. Uh, well, the ending of the fight takes place off camera, but with that, I don't know. I just felt that he really should have been a lot shorter, considering the other villains just do not get the time and build up that they need, especially the last villain, Gideon. He was cut short. Like you really just don't know who he is or what his motivation is or really anything about him. You just know that he's a douche, and that's about it. The second movie that I saw, The Expendables. I actually saw this one with my friends Rob and Will rather than seeing it with my family, and mixed impressions. Some of it was incredibly fake looking. Like, the blood looked like it was added in at the last minute. It really did. Like, it was really bad green screen blood. It was absolutely horrific, and really, at that point, it just should not have been there. They just should have kept, like, the heads being blown off and the occasional gore from just not being on camera if they were just going to add the blood in as sort of a secondary measure. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense, and it was really fake looking, which really took away from the entire movie. I liked some of the action. I thought that the action was well directed, it was well choreographed. I thought that it was, suspend your disbelief enough where it was fun, but at the same time realistic enough where it did not feel like some kind of gun fu movie. The dramatic bits are hit and miss, mostly miss. Which is weird because they've got a lot of actors who've proven themselves good in dramatic territory. Sylvester Stallone can do drama. He can. He just needs the right script for it. And Mickey Rourke, dear God, Mickey Rourke is a terrific drama actor. I mean, he can do that kind of stuff. But the one point in here where he really gets time to develop is just such a long, drawn out monologue that really doesn't have anything to contribute to anything. Like, it's just this monologue about how he didn't stop this girl from jumping off a bridge, and it's just like, it just goes on and on and on and on, and you're just kind of like, God, will you just shut up and get back to the guns? That's why I paid $5 to see this movie, is just people shooting guns at other people. The characters are also hit miss. I was not a particular fan of the anti-hero Gunner. I didn't really think that he was a fun addition. He really didn't even fill in sort of the natural psychotic role. It just that was just not his role. But one that I did like was Jet Li. Jet Li's character was really fun because he basically just spent the entire movie trying to con more money out of it than everyone else believed that he should get, and it was just kind of fun to watch him do that occasionally. Uh, God, I cannot remember the actor's name, but another one of the characters goes on this monologue about how he got a cauliflower ear thingy, and that was also incredibly boring. And I totally thought at first, like, that'll come back later. That'll be like something that later we need to reference, like if he walks away from an explosion or something. But no, it never does. He spends most of the last couple of minutes of the movie, the climax, which is only like 10-15 minutes long, which is weird for an action movie. I mean, especially considering the fact that most of the rest of it is drama, you would think that they would at least throw in like a 30-minute climax to make up for all the crap that we had to sit through. But instead, it's just this like 10-minute fight scene, which isn't even really a fight scene. I mean, most the big bad gets killed off by somebody else and, replaced with the more American villain. And it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it's where the film really shoots downward in quality, which is really weird. Okay, so I had to talk to somebody for a minute. Anyway, that was my review of Scott Pilgrim and the Expendables. Uh, and I will very shortly upload my review of Piranha's 3D because after recording this the first time, I realized that I had a lot more to say on that movie than I believed before. So, make sure to check out the second review, Piranha's 3D.